All right, I'm back. So I did the exercise at the end of the book under the section called Key Questions. And this is to basically, these questions ask you things in a different way so that you come up with deeper underlying things rather than like making associations. Like the first step that I did was making associations with what the author pointed out to be related to the knee. Whereas the way these questions are asked, it's asking it in such a way that you don't really know what your answers are gonna actually tell you about your interior until after. So it helps you not filter and not keep things focused on what you think is related to the knee, if that makes sense. So these key questions are used for every single different physical ailment that you might have that she goes into in this book. So I'm going to read it to you. So key questions. In order to pinpoint the cause of your physical illness more accurately, ask yourself the following questions. So again, we go physical block, and then emotional block, and then spiritual block. So here's the physical block. What are the words that best describe how I am experiencing inside, or describe what I'm experiencing inside or on my body, and how do I feel about it? So here's my description of what I feel. So it went from, it was so bad that okay, so there was times when it was just, I couldn't bend down. And then it would come and go through the years, like through this whole like court divorce drama stuff. It would come and go. But it got so bad that last year I went to Baja, and when I was there, I couldn't barely bend my knees. I was like limping walking down steps, and I could not sit cross-legged at all. Or if I did, it just hurt, and my knees felt so thick and swollen. So I couldn't do it for very long. Never mind the hours and hours this afternoon that I've been sitting cross-legged on this couch, which has been totally fine. So it went from I can't bend my knees or sit cross-legged to it's just like, so it felt like my body was eating itself. So I'd feel like this like nibbling almost of my knees in different spots. And that was like it getting down to a 1. But when I would feel the sensation, it would feel like my body was eating at itself. And then to now being, it doesn't hurt anymore unless it's aggravated. Okay, so these are the things that I was experiencing. So then I go back to the book, and it says, and now I told you what the answer was to the question. Okay, now it says, the answer to the above question reflects what you are experiencing regarding the person or situation that is at the root of your illness. So based on this, the person that's at the root of my illness is my ex-husband. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go back and be doing some more forgiveness exercises on this guy. But anyways, this whole thing is very interesting because when it got the worst was when I was in Baja last year, like I mentioned. And something that I haven't told people, or many people, was that my whole intention of this trip to Baja was to write a book. And it's super, super interesting because I actually went to a location in Baja where, according to like astrocartography, which is like astrology to do with like geographical locations, I was literally in a spot geographically to basically recover and heal from my divorce. So, and that all happened subconsciously. Like we just decided, my friend and I, to go to Baja to write books. And we happened to get offered to do a pet sit in this location. And then I looked it up on the astrocartography, and it literally was supporting my intention to write this book, which is quite amazing. But it flared up. Obviously, now I'm looking back on it going, wow, that's amazing. It flared up while I was writing the book. So that's another, sign that this is definitely connected to my knee. So then when I got back to Kelowna, I was able to get the pain down to a 1. At that point, I'd finished writing the book, but I still haven't done the final edit. Okay. So when I got back to Kelowna, I started doing a whole bunch of other like physical things to support my knee, and I got the pain down to a 1. A lot of it was connected to fascia, and fascia is a place where we hold our emotions. Okay, so I was able to move it out quite a lot doing the physical therapies, but it still like felt like when I did feel it, it felt like my body was eating itself. Like it's like a chewing on my, it's either my muscle or tendon. I don't know. I think it's the tendon. So, and then I said, it doesn't hurt anymore unless it's aggravated. Okay. So, and I do get aggravated at times currently by my ex-husband. So he owes me money, and, you know, he's legally been told that he has to back pay me this money, and he just doesn't pay it, and then makes me reach out to him, and like, you know, just aggravations, right? Or for example, my daughter, I gave her my espresso machine to use while I was in Baja, and he threw it out while I was in Baja. And then my daughter went and bought me a new espresso maker, which it's all extremely aggravating, right? Because this is like, it doesn't really hurt me, like really, to throw out my espresso maker. But now my daughter is, you know, picking up the slack for her dad because she feels bad and buys me an espresso machine, which I don't want, right? Like I don't want my daughter to have to bear the, you know, backlash of any of this. And, you know, so these are aggravations that I'm dealing with this person. So, so this whole situation with my ex-husband, that's the exact way you could describe it. It doesn't hurt anymore unless it's aggravated. So anyways, this is like quite fascinating it's not that I wasn't aware of all these things, but using this exercise has really helped me like see all the pieces and how they all fit together, which is quite amazing. And it's telling me that not only do I still have more work to do on this, but I need to finalize the editing of that book. Like I've literally written the whole book. It just needs to be edited before I can release it. So I feel that doing that is part of this journey of closing the door on this. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link under the video to a wait list where I'll release the book chapter by chapter as I do the final edits on every chapter. And it'll be completely free. And it's not the story of all the things that happened in my marriage. You know, I'm not going to be writing that book right now. But basically what I did was I wrote a book sharing with other women how to handle a situation in which you're being financially abused and, you know, your ex has all the power and all the money and you don't have anything. How to handle that. Because I know there's a lot of women in that situation and they struggle and don't know what to do. And I learned a lot through that experience, and I don't want that to go to waste, and I want to be able to give that back to women. So I've been writing that book, and it's written, it's done. It's just, yeah, like knowing, like if you guys are interested in this or you have friends that are going through this and you send them to that list and they sign up, that's going to motivate me to do the final edit. And then I can give that information to women to help them so that they don't have to, you know, suffer the way I had to suffer, basically floundering around in the dark for like almost 10 years before, you know, all of this got handled. And like, as you can see, I'm still dealing with it, right? Because it's not over. Like I'm still dealing with, you know, I had to basically say like, you know, if you don't make the next payment, then I'm going to have to go back to court and stuff like, so, you know what I mean? They keep you held in so that you can't just be like separated. They keep that that hold on you, right? As long as they can. When they're manipulative like this, and obviously hurt themselves and just, you know, struggling through life, because hurt people, right? And like healthy, normal people don't do that. And healthy, normal people want to put the past in the past and move on. But there's so many women that are stuck in this scenario, and I wanted to share my experience and at least know that I made good on it, and it didn't happen for nothing, and someone else can benefit from what I went through, so you don't have to go through it in the same way, and hopefully save other women time and energy and money. Okay, so there's that. Now the next part is the emotional block. So there's a question A. So what is this illness preventing me from doing or having? So the answer to this question represents one or more desires that are being blocked. So here's what what is this illness preventing me from doing or having? So let's go back to that. Okay, so what this is preventing me from doing or having. At this point, it's just making me doubt my ability to be able to be as strong physically as I desire to be. I want to learn calisthenics. This makes me doubt that I can. And then also it makes me feel insecure about my body and physically unattractive. So it's another reason that I'm putting off dating. So obviously, even if I showed you my knee in this, like, you wouldn't be able to see it. Well, I guess I could, but I do actually have another video coming out after this where I do show some pictures of my knee in it for my body recomposition playlist. But even those pictures, and if what I showed you today is not nearly as bad as it was. Like, it's already like it's just so much better already. But I will eventually do a video where I talk about the physical things that I did with my knee, along with this emotional work to get myself to healing. So I have the before, which are not in that video. The pictures that are in that video are more like this past December, not as bad as things were in Baja or this summer before I got things down to a 1. But anyways, it's the physical, it's like actually physically deformed is what it looks like. So I've been talking about the pain, the physical pain of it, but there's this other aspect of it, the physical unattractive side of it, that is a big thing. Okay, I feel like just because I said that I could show you my knee, that I will, but I don't really know if it's going to come up amazingly in this video, the extent of it. So it's like you can't really see it. It's not terrible now the way it used to be, but can you see how, like, yeah, you can see how it's just like all like loose and like puckered and swollen. Okay, so that's one. I don't know if you see it on this side, but guys, this is nothing compared to how it was. So not as noticeable, maybe on this side. I can't tell. It's not terrible now. But that slight pain that can be aggravated is still there. Yeah, so anyways, there's lots. I'm showing you everything that I'm doing in process. So this is you're not getting the before or after, you're getting the in the middle. Okay, so let's go. So that was like, so the emotional block is the desires that are being blocked for me right now are that I really want to learn calisthenics and I would like to date. Okay, so that's desires that I have, right? Like to be like fit and strong and like able to move my body the way I want to, and to like, yeah, just have that freedom to feel like I've got like power in my body again, that I can do what I want with it. right? Whereas once my niece was flared up like that, I mean, I was afraid, like, I mean, if I could barely walk, then I can't run, then I'm not safe, right? So there's that. That was pretty scary when it was bad. But yeah, I'm feeling like not attractive. So that also makes it like, just adds to the resistance to dating, or the fear of dating, right? So there's a fear of dating because of all the other stuff I talked about. And then there's this other physical aspect of it. Like, I don't want to be unattractive, right? So there's that. And then, okay, so then the second question under emotional blocks is, if I allowed myself to achieve these desires, so dating and doing calisthenics, then what would I be? So that brings us to the ultimate, is that I would be fit, strong, attractive, and in a partnership, right? Like, that's what I could have if I wasn't in resistance because of feeling unattractive and not feeling strong and in control of my body to be able to do what I want to do with it. Okay, so moving now on to the mental block. Then the question is, if I allowed myself to be fit, strong, attractive, and in a partnership, what unpleasant situation could happen to me? And what would people think of me? Or what would I think of myself? So what unpleasant situation could happen? So if I allowed myself, so these are important questions, right? Because if I can consciously say that I want this, but then I can have unconscious reasons to want to push that away and not have those results to protect myself, right? So we all have these. So here's what I wrote. If I allowed myself to be fit, strong, and attractive, the unpleasant situation could be that I would attract attention, and then more people would want my time and energy, and then I would not have enough time for myself. That was one thing. And then I guess that comes from, like, not just because I'm so fit and attractive. It's more just like, if I feel fit and attractive, then I'm going to want to go out more, right? And then if I want to go out more, then that's taking up my time. Then I got to meet people, all those kind of things play in there. Because I have been doing that. I have been like a hermit for 10 years. I've been a hermit basically since I got separated. I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. I have a few close friends. My two closest friends are not even in Kelowna anymore. They're both traveling. So I don't, other than spend time with my kids, I don't do anything. Like, literally, I just work, I study, and I read, and I spend time with my kids. So yeah, there's a part of me that, like, is kind of afraid of losing even that as well, because I love to read, and I'm, as much as I'm here seemingly extroverted, I am quite introverted on some level as well. I'm like 1 point to extroverted on the Myers-Briggs scale, right? So I can go either way. The next part of it is, what would people think of me? So my inner child worries that women wouldn't approve of me and think that I would be excluded, because that has happened to me in my life. I had an experience that, like, kind of always stuck with me. And it's that I was, like, quite young, like, I don't know, 9 or 10. And I remember hanging out with my friends, and then they talked about how they were on the weekend going to hang out with these boys. And then my friend said to me, but you can't come because all the boys will like you. So I was not invited because of that. And that always stuck out for me in my mind. And I'm like, yeah, I'm 49 years old and I'm still feeling the emotion of that. And then on the other side of it, my adult thinks that I would actually gain more opportunities by being more visible and comfortable in my own skin. So I do see that I'm of two minds about it, right? It's like, there could be benefits to being more visible and more attractive, and then there's drawbacks to being more visible and attractive. And then the other part is, I would attract a lot of men And I don't want that. I just want one man. It feels safer to be attractive when I have a man in my life to protect me, but it's not safe to be single and attractive. So that's, I mean, is that real? I don't know. Like, to some degree, I can see it's logical and it makes sense, but I mean, it doesn't have to be that way at all, right? It's just like fears that come up. And that's what this work is about. Even if it seems illogical or it's not something you consciously believe, it's allowing things to come up from your subconscious mind, getting them out of there and putting them on paper so that you can like really realize what's going on in there. Because if it wasn't true, if I didn't somewhere think these things on some level, they just wouldn't come up in the journal exercise, right? So it's really important not to filter oneself when doing this kind of exercise. Okay, so here's the final part. So the spiritual side of things. So the spiritual block is referred to your answer B under emotional block, which was, I want to be fit, strong, attractive, and in a partnership. And then it says your response indicates a deep and profound need that is being blocked by an inappropriate belief system. So I have a deep, profound need to be fit, strong, and attractive and be in a partnership that I am blocking myself from by these belief systems that came up when I did the mental block journaling. So there we have it. That is everything that is in this book for journaling to get the insight. And I'm going to stop the video and come back and tell you more about what the next steps are. But I just want to make this not go too long because I'm worried that my phone is going to lose time because I've got a lot of videos on here. Okay, I'll be back.